Good evening and welcome to the Lowell Planning Board meeting for Thursday, September 22nd, 2011. Before we start the meeting tonight, I just want to wish get well greetings to our fellow Planning Board member, Mr. Stephen Genrid. He had a medical procedure done within the last couple of weeks, and he won't be with us tonight, and we wish him the best. And hopefully, if he's watching, he can give us critique on how we do this evening. But our thoughts and prayers go out to Mr. Genrid. So moving along tonight, we do have a public hearing and some new business. Prior to the public hearing, we have minutes of approval. The first set of minutes of approval are for July 18th, 2011. Any of the board members have any questions or comments on those minutes?
Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes of July 18th.
Second.
Motion made and second. Chair votes yes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes have been approved. The next matter will be the minutes for the August 15th, 2011.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of August 15th.
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor say aye. Chair votes yes. Those minutes have been approved as well. Tonight we do have a public hearing on for 279 Pawtucket Street. The Lowell Planning Board will have a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by Hawkins Real Estate, Inc. for site plan review and special permit for a project located at the above listed address. The existing parcel contained 13,465 square feet of land, 1 three-family dwelling, and 2 parking spaces. The proposal includes the partial demolition and conversion of the existing 3-family building to a 2-family dwelling, the construction of 2 new single-family houses, and increasing on-site parking from 2 spaces to 8 spaces. A proposed approval not required subdivision would divide the parcel into 3 parcels where the existing structure in each new single-family home would occupy a separate lot. The applicant is seeking site plan review under Section 11.4 of the Lowell zoning code and a special permit under Section 11.4 under the neighborhood character special permit and the table of uses under Article 12. The parcel is located in the traditional mixed-use zoning district. May we hear from the applicant, please?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, for the record, James Flood, 549 Rogers Street, Lowell, representing Hawkins Real Estate. I had sent a letter earlier to Aaron requesting a continuance on this matter till October 3rd because of the lack of members on the board. I think whatever you do, we need 4 members anyway, so I've asked for that continuance. I just soon not open anything and just do it all on the 3rd.
Just for the general public, what happened is a request for a special permit is what has been requested as part of this site plan review. Under special permit, the applicant would need 4 votes in favor of the special permit to go forward. So since we are short 2 members tonight, one from an illness and one being out of town, therefore the board would not be allowed to have 4 people voting on that matter. So usually in the past, if it's for lack of having a 4 person on the board for that evening, we have been gracious enough to continue the matter since it's no fault of the applicant to put it over to a date where we will have a full body, which my understanding is that we will have 4, if not hopefully 5 people all here for the next October 3rd public hearing. Any board members have any questions or comments in regards to request for continuance due to the fact that it's a lack of our board not having enough people here?
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman, to continue to the October 3rd meeting when we have a full board present.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So the matter will be continued till October 3rd for public hearing. That will be on our regularly scheduled Monday night here. So anybody who's watching who are here to speak on behalf of this, against this project, to speak anyways on any matter in regards to this project, the matter will be back on the agenda for October 3rd. And for anybody who came down this evening in regards to this, we apologize for the inconvenience, and hopefully we won't be an inconvenience to come back on October 3rd. If anybody has any questions generally about the procedure from the audience, I'd be happy to answer those if need be. Anybody have any procedural questions? No? Okay, for that matter, we continue to October 3rd. And all those who came down, thank you. Moving along, the next matter is new business under 482 Moody Street. The planning board will review request by the Coalition of a Better Acre to amend a previously approved site plan for a 23-unit residential building in a 16-space parking lot located at 482 Moody Street. The proposed amendment includes relocation of the electrical transformer southeast corner of the property with bollards in the adjacent sidewalk. May we hear from the applicant, if we could, please?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Joe Pesnola, representing Coalition for a Better Acre. We were here back a year and a half ago to get rules for 23-unit affordable housing project at 482 Moody Street. In the development of the plans, after the planning board process, working with National Grid, it became evident that our original plan to do a pole-mounted transformer was not going to be possible because of the needs for the building, so that a pad-mounted transformer was required. If you recall, the site it's got a lot of building and parking on it, so the only place we could find for a transformer was in the far southeast corner. And what that necessitated, in accordance with National Grid's requirements, was the installation of bollards to protect that transformer. And National Grid has very specific requirements for how close or the distance those bollards are from the transformer and so forth. That put the bollard here is a copy of the original plan and some interim plans, and last plan in your package, or the plan that was submitted with the application for request, has a detail up in the upper right-hand corner. Shows the transformer location, the 2 bollards on site, and the 3 bollards in the sidewalk. Sidewalk's 7 feet wide. The bollards are 2 feet off of the edge of sidewalk. They're consistent with street trees in the area, some street trees that we'll be planting, utility poles, hydrants. So there's almost 5 feet of clear passage for pedestrians, which is more than ample for ADA requirements. And it meets with National Grid's requirements for protection of the transformer. There's also some restrictions on how close the transformer can be to the building. They actually wanted 10 feet, and we were allowed to go 5 by putting additional fire protection on the building itself. So we really went round and round on this to try to get that transformer in there, and it's at minimums in all directions. We did go to City Council, I think last week, and we got a license, maintenance indemnification agreement with the city to maintain the bollards in the street. So we just need an amendment from the board for the site plan approval.
What type of fire protection did you have to do for the building, out of curiosity?
It's just the type of materials that we used. They had to be fireproof materials as far as the clapboards and the decking, within a certain distance. I think it was 6 feet off the ground, within that zone that the transformer was at, within 5 to 10 feet from the building.
So are you able to match that right into the building, so it's not really
Yeah.
telling, or?
Yeah, they match materials, and architecturally it's going to look fine. It's going to look like the rest of the building.
I know when this first came up, that was one of the questions where these were going to go, and I know a lot of it, at the time, was told that a lot of it has control of where National Grid tells you to put it, and then I know that we have some control of where it's supposed to go on the site, so.
Yeah, it's monopoly. We couldn't ask to go to the next power company. So we really had to play ball with them, and they've got very strict requirements.
Aaron, is Division of Planning and Development have anything to say on this? I know you've been involved in this. I know you and I have had some communication about this in the past before this made it on tonight's agenda.
Yeah, just there's a couple of things that
Actually, the applicant had reached out to the city engineer first just to clarify that there is AD access along the sidewalk still with the bollards in place, which the city engineer did confirm, so that's an important aspect to know that that is still there. And generally speaking, just from a site planning perspective, and the board may be interested in this, that these kinds of decisions probably should be coming to the board before they're made and put in place, because this is an important element of the site plan review process, particularly when it's a fairly large piece of infrastructure that's placed right up front and center. And we certainly can appreciate that National Grid has very specific requirements, but this is still something that we feel that the board should have the opportunity to weigh in on.
Okay. Does anybody else want to be heard on behalf of the applicant or anything further? No? Mark. Yes, Mr. Goldman.
Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board, for the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. Wish to be recorded in favor of this. I'm a former member of the board of CBA, and this has been a very excellent project for the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak in regards to this amendment to a previous approved site plan for the 482 Moody Street? Nobody else wants to speak on the behalf? Or anybody want to speak in opposition? In opposition? At this point in time, does any of the board members have any questions?
Just, Mr. Chairman, if I may, Mr. Pisnola, to try to get our arms around these types of issues, and I know it's frustrating for everybody involved, but after you go through that exercise with the utility company and they indicate where that transformer needs to go on the site, and I feel strongly about this, as Aaron indicated, certainly at the end of the day, the site plan's approved by the planning board, but before you actually put that into onto the site, at least from your experience dealing with the utility companies, coming before us before you actually put that down on the site, you know, how much flexibility still exists with in your experience with the utility companies at that point?
Very little. They were quite unbending in the requirements for setbacks and the bollard locations, bollard distances, and so forth. We had a few options. We could go seek an easement from the abutter and try to have the access through the parking lot of the church parking lot, or the renovated church's parking lot, and felt that this was the best option. I apologize. We thought that we had the city's acquiescence to the change. There were two other things that were happening at the same time. The planning board approval required that we get department input on the final landscaping plan and department input on the final configuration of the dumpsters. So we had submitted final plans. At the same time, the contractor had requested we investigate going to porous pavement in the parking lot, and we had submitted that. So there were plans that had been circulated through the city and approved, and in fact, the porous pavement one was deemed, you know, a staff level approval. We got Lisa's approval, we got Aaron's approval, and you know, I assumed incorrectly that we also had the approval for other things that were changed on the plan, this being one of them. But on point to your question with regards to if we had come here before it was installed, I think we still would have had very little very little flexibility without changing the whole project program. The building was the building is the building. It's 23 units. It's fine. The financial viability is based on the 23 units and so forth. So it wasn't like we could move the building or shrink the building. And we thought we had a solution that worked. It was a little tight, but it worked. It got everybody that was involved, as far as the electricians and National Grid and CBA and us, to a point where we said, okay, this, we can cram it in this corner.
I mean, not to detract from the fact that, it's a fantastic project to see a building like that going up in the downtown, and I think, obviously, from that perspective, that's a positive development. Certainly, I would think in the future, we run into that type of situation that we come before the board before you actually put that down. I can tell you, I'm feeling some heat from people out in the public. They're calling these types of conditions from the board non-conditioned conditions, to basically work with the staff. And it works out well, but I certainly have gotten some feedback that that's a non-conditioned condition. And so I'm sensitive to that.
Yep.
And again, I think it works out well for the applicant. DPD has the expertise to deal with the applicants in order to come up with final landscaping in some instances. But in other instances, even I've been persistent in saying I would prefer to have it come back, even though I'm not a botanist and I'm not an expert on the plants per se, but certainly wanting to know how that's going to look and the final streetscape is going to appear. Because obviously, from a aesthetically pleasing perspective, this really doesn't look very good. I think everybody can agree in the room.
No.
And I don't even know, is there any kind of screening that can be, plantings that can be put around that? I looked at it,
There's a pad runs right into the sidewalk.
Yeah.
There maybe on the left-hand side, so it decreases its
When you're
visibility
coming down,
a little
yeah,
bit.
because it's a dead end from the other end, but at least if you're coming down from, Aiken.
Yep, I can talk to Madeline about that and maybe put a few arborvitae in there in the little narrow.
If we could do that, I
between
think
the
that
two.
would help to soften it a little.
Yeah.
And I take it again from an ADA perspective, you can fit a wheelchair through there?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's almost 5 feet of clearance. It's 5 feet to the center of the bollards. The bollards are 6-inch diameter, so it's 4 feet 9 inches. ADA clearance is 36 inches.
Now, is the CBA going to be responsible for that portion of the sidewalk?
For the bollards
snow removal?
themselves, no.
Snow removal?
For the bollards themselves, they're responsible, but the sidewalk and the street trees that we're installing will be turned over to the city. We're doing all the improvements. We're replacing the sidewalk in there. We're fixing curbs, closing off old curb cuts, putting street trees in.
Because I don't believe the city, the equipment that the city currently has to clear sidewalks can fit between I don't know, Aaron, if you...
Yeah, I think in this case, there's the city ordinance that the property owner would have to remove the snow anyway.
CBA would have to
Right.
remove this, that's what I wanted to
Correct,
kind of
yeah.
get the clarification on.
Yeah,
So the
yeah.
CBA would be responsible for clearing the snow between the bollards and the transformer.
I'll let them know that.
I think that's important because I can see that just kind of skirting around there and then it becoming a problem. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any Claremore?
I have no issues with it, Mr. Chairman. I understand that this is a change that nobody really was looking for, other than perhaps a utility company, so it's sort of an issue that everyone got stuck with, and it was kind of a pain, but they did what they needed to do, got the approval of the license agreement with the city, and have the CBA maintain the bollards, so I have no issue with it.
Well, I guess the good thing is that they didn't leave it 10 feet out, right? At least you came back 5 feet, so hopefully if they compromise a little bit and we compromise a little bit and we get it to be accepted as is.
We got it in there.
Yeah, so basically I'd be in favor of allowing the amendment to the previous approved site plan. Just off, not on this site, if we have something like this in the future and we're dealing with that, I'm not saying if you're the applicant or something else, and I know how National Grid kind of dictates this. Any suggestions of what we can do to regulate some of that? I mean, I know, because you deal with them and we don't. You know,
Yeah.
as an applicant, you get stuck after we give approval, and then they come back and tell you, we're not doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I got not on this project, but a prior project, I got a great education into National Grid and the placement of transformers and their requirements for bollards and protection, so that when I'm now designing sites, I can take that into consideration. But one of the things that we don't have at the point that we're coming through planning board is the final design of the transformer and the size of the transformer. There's just no way. The electrical engineers are not involved at that point. The building's not designed at that point. The loads aren't calculated. And there's absolutely, I can tell you this unequivocally, there's no way we can get National Grid involved at that point. They just won't talk to us until we're ready to sign a contract and we have building plans and we have load calculations. So it's always going to be some kind of a refinement between planning board approval and construction on items like this. We just need to, as civil engineers, we need to do the best we can do to make sure we have homes for things like this equipment. And whether it's a transformer or a generator or a chiller, something like that, especially on these urban sites where every square inch is being used.
I remember, if my memory serves me correctly, I know there was a discussion of the public hearing, and the question was, can you put it on the roof, can you put it somewhere else, and those, well,
Right. And we,
for certain reasons, they couldn't go there.
and we
Because
did,
of what the existing building and the size and all that.
and there were other considerations as well that we had with equipment, and some of it did go up on the roof.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I know there was some discussion we had, where could it go instead of here, and, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay. Any other further comments from the board? If not, could entertain a motion?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to approve the modification of the site plan as requested as a minor change.
I would second that, if the maker would be appropriate, just to add that the petitioner would look to add some sort of screening
Certainly.
as feasible on that site. And with that, I would second that motion.
Motion's amended in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes yes. So your motion carries for the amended approved site plan with hopefully some screening that you indicated, a couple of type of those trees you can put up, sure? Okay, thank you.
Work with staff on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, appreciate it. Okay, moving along, we have notices from budding towns. Entertain a motion to place those on file, and this is the comments on those.
So moved.
Second. Motion moving second, all in favor, say aye. Chair votes yes. Moving along, we have ZBA notices. These are matters that are going to appear before a public hearing before the zoning board of appeals. And these are scheduled for March 26, 2011, 6:30 PM here in the city council chambers. And we make recommendations only to the ZBA. The first matter is for sign Arama. And this is for a special permit for a sign at 1075 Westford Street. Petition to install one internally illuminated wall sign for Cooman. This is for the zoning ordinance. Any comments on that matter?
I'm not sure if we got any feedback from the design plan on this one, Mr. Chairman. If we haven't, I'd suggest that we refer to the design planner for their review and recommendation.
Okay. We haven't received comments from the design plan on this one, right?
Not on
We
this
have some other ones,
project.
not this one,
Yeah,
okay.
I can provide a little background. Basically, the sign itself is, it fits within the zoning size requirements that for a wall sign. They're just looking for internal illumination. Generally speaking, we have a supportive perspective on this sign because it's a location as well. It's across the street from the landfill, so it seems like an appropriate location. So there isn't really anything in much detail that we have for this.
I'll second Mr. Claremont's motion on this, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion Made and second to refer to the design planner. All in favor, say aye. Chair votes yes.
Aye.
Okay, the next matter is for special permanent variance for signs. The applicant is Barlow Signs, and the property is located at 705 Pawtucket Boulevard. To move existing changeable copy sign and replace with electronic changeable copy sign pursuant to section 6.3. We did receive a letter in regards to this application from a design planner who had the opportunity to review this matter. In the case of asking for two variances, one for the internal illumination, and the second one is the electronic changeability of a new reader board sign proposed for the existing freestanding sign at 705 Pecker Boulevard at the J.J. Boomer's Restaurant. The design planner is recommending a denial for this application. Both moving and internally illuminated signs are not allowed in the SMU district. The applicant does not meet the standards for a variance. Specifically, it does not meet the special hardship criteria, and it would substantially deviate from the intent of the zoning. Although there is an existing manually changeable, internally illuminated message board on the freestanding sign, this is a new sign and should not be held to the rules set forth in the code. It should be held to the rules. In addition, the proposed reader board moving sign would impact traffic safety and alter the charter of this riverfront neighborhood in a manner contrary to the standards set forth in the master plan. Finally, the existing freestanding sign is already larger than the maximum size allowed by code. Adding the reader board sign would only reinforce the excessive size. So this is from our design planner.
So she doesn't have many good things to say about the sign, so I think we ought to adopt her recommendation and recommend denial.
Motion made for denial, discussion, or comment?
Well, discussion and I'll second it, but I think, again, Mr. Claremont's correct in pointing out, obviously, the issues that were highlighted from the design planner. I will say that all of the issues were hit on right to a T, because I've actually went to the Pawtuckettville master plan and the city's master plan and looking at the zoning code, and when you look at many times the argument is the real retailer wants to be competitive and more, and at this point, if you look along that entire stretch of road, they're not competing with any other business that has that type of sign, so they're not at a disadvantage with the other retail space that may exist along that strip of road. And it is the unique character with the riverfront walkway, the regatta field, and there is a mix of residential and open space, so it's certainly not the type of character of the neighborhood. Doesn't fit in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. So, again, I would second Mr. Claremont's motion, recommend denial.
Okay, motion to make by denial, been, motion been made and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
And chair votes yes, so we recommend a denial on that matter. Moving along, the next matter is Maria Lopez, 215 University Ave, to convert a two-family dwelling into a three-family dwelling pursuant to section 12B of the zoning ordinance.
I honestly think this was a parcel that was in question when we rezoned the city, and I believe there was some question about this, but
Looks like it's pretty much on the TTF, TMU zone a little bit, huh? When you say there's a red line for the zoning?
yeah.
Line on it?
Yeah, and there was an issue where the zone stopped, and I think there was some question about what it was prior zoning. I may be incorrect, but that's going back quite a few years. I believe that was an issue.
So this is the TMU zone that you're looking at, okay.
Well, it looks like to meet the parking requirements, they would stack the parking behind the existing garage, or behind the existing parking, and it looks like that may be okay, but, you know, it's a tight little lot here. Doesn't really meet the front yard setbacks. I understand it's not changing, but we are changing the use from 2 to 3 families, so increasing the use. We've got only a 4-foot offsite to the other lot, so it seems to be a little tight.
You got a side yard is 4 feet heading towards lot 47.
So you have a 3-family, and you have the garage with 2 cars in it, driveway in front with 2 cars in it. It's all rental property, that might be problematic, and then they're adding the 2 angled spots.
And even the angled spots, if you look at it, looks like you have to back up. If there's actually cars in there, you're
You
gonna
run into a
be
very
conflict. Yeah.
difficult issue there.
Again, in this instance, I don't, it's just, the biggest concern is that, is the parking on the site, trying to, this is one of those cases where I'd like to have the applicant in front of us and see what options may exist as far as the parking, but,
Right, and if they're seeking a variance, what is the hardship in this case? I'm
Right.
not certain what that would be. That's not indicated on the application.
in the application, yeah.
I think based upon the information in front of me, I'd recommend denial.
I'd second that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, motion made and second. All in favor, say aye. Chair votes yes. Denial. Next matter is for a special permit, and this is for Calvin Duong, 160 Middlesex Street, to construct a new mixed-use building with commercial on the ground floor and 3 dwelling units amongst the second and third floor pursuant to section 12.1 of the zoning code. And this is, again, 160 Middlesex Street, looking for a special permit.
Does anyone recall what was here before? There was a building here before, it's now vacant.
And do you know anything about this one at all?
Yes, yes, Mr. Claremont is correct. There was a building that was recently raised, and it was raised due to safety factors. It was an unsafe building that needed to be This is a new property owner that's going to come in and has committed to rebuilding the building in the same footprint that was there. And I think it's almost the exact same architectural style and detail. They're going to be working with the Historic Board. They haven't submitted an application as of yet. They have had discussions in terms of just the general form and design, which has received positive feedback. But it's going to be exactly the same footprint of what was there before. It was a vacant building for a number of years.
They could rebuild on the footprint, but the concern now is the change now in the use to the residential up above. Is that right?
Well, it's actually the district it's in allows it with the residential use with a special permit. The density and the parking requirements actually are met for I think it is the DMU district. They're about 500 feet, if not less, than the new parking garage. So the commercial space doesn't really need to provide parking, and the parking for residential is cut in half. So I think they need, it's 4 units, so they need 4 parking spaces.
They have 6.
They have 6. right?
So it meets all the criteria, they just need a special permit
Correct.
because of the type that's going back up and it's going back
Exactly.
in the same footprint.
Correct. It had been a vacant building for quite some time. It had been condemned, so that's why there was no grandfather, it wasn't protected under an
Right.
existing non-conforming use, so they had to get the special permit.
Mr. Chairman, I based on, again, the fact that there was the prior structure that was there, and again, meeting the criteria, just needing the variance based on the circumstances, I would recommend approval.
I'll second that.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye. Chair votes yes, recommend approval. Next matter is for a special permit for signs, Genesis LPD LLC. This is 963 Chelmsford Street, to internally illuminate one wall sign. Any comment on this wall sign, Aaron? I mean, or is it, that one meet more of the specifics, or?
Yeah, so you'll notice that it's pretty big. Make sure I'm looking at the right one. No, I'm sorry,
This is for
I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
Chelmsford Street, yeah.
Chelmsford Street.
Okay, it's the, right. it's what it
Now,
should
this
be.
one's pretty straightforward as well. I don't think there was any
See
comment
if I
on this.
butchered that.
The DP is one who comments when given to tonight, all what they propose is within the domestic requirements of the code for wall signs. It's, I guess caveat to her comments that were in support of what they were proposing was that there are a number of signs, banners that have been there for quite some time.
Since we approved it?
Yeah, remove those, you get the wall sign up, remove that.
Okay. So actually, this would kind of tidy it up a little bit and get the,
Yeah.
oh, I see. And basically, they're gonna put it, almost looks like above the entrance door coming in, the sign.
Right, yeah, it's
Yeah.
right up on the street. Yeah.
I'll make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Chair votes yes, as indicated, that matters recommended for approval. The next one is Metro Sign and Awning for 1201 Bridge Street to install 2 internally illuminated wall signs for Verizon Wireless.
I think, again, the signage itself is well within the dimensional requirements. Internal illumination is just is the thing that they need to get the special permit for. It's regional retail, it's a shopping district, a shopping mall, so generally support.
So I make a motion to recommend approval as well.
I'll second that, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye. Chair votes yes, recommend approval. Moving along, the next matter is for Attorney George Elides for 585 Merrimack Street. This is to install a drive-through facility for new Gene Dark Credit Union branch. As you know, we approved the site plan at our last public hearing. So this is there to install the drive-through. I think if I remember correctly, he had the double amount of queuing that he needed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Didn't he have like, I think he needs like 10.
That they've narrowed down the lanes for clarity and circulating. If you recall, before it was 3 lanes.
Traffic engineer, right?
Yeah, and it was kind of unclear in terms of circulation, which lane you're supposed to be in to go around to get to the parking or to go in to get, so they've reduced it to 2 lanes, but they're still 50% over the queue that they need.
At least we had the benefit of the whole site plan.
Right, exactly.
So we had a lot of input into it, we saw the whole plan, we saw the whole thing, so.
Right.
This one, I know we voted for the site plan, it was unanimous vote, I think everybody was pretty happy with like,
So make a motion to recommend approval as well.
made.
Second?
Yes. The next matter is for special permit and variance for Hawkins Real Estate for 279 Pawtucket Street. This is the matter that we had on our public hearing tonight that we just continued. A lot of area dwelling unit and construct 2 single-family dwelling.
Just as a point, I don't know, could they still go to the zoning board of appeals before they come to us now?
They do this first, right? Before, so that'd be continued at the ZBA, so.
But one time they went and got it and came back to us.
Well, that's why yeah.
I forget which project
Yeah,
that was.
there was-
CBA says, we're allowed it, we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was,
Back to what? I can't remember the name, I can't remember the site location.
it was,
But I think at that time, we didn't approve what they were looking for. But they voted prior to us voting the site plan.
yeah, that did
I
happen.
think it
I
location.
know it
I guess it
happened.
was
I'm
Lowell
getting that
Street.
Yeah, so procedural-wise, I guess they could still go that way, but I think it'd be up to the applicant whether they want to hold up until we get our point.
The- What the zoning code says, they could open the public hearing, but what the code says is that it's okay with the planning board, and there's either a special permit with the zoning board of appeals, that if the site plan is approved with conditions, the conditions have to be incorporated into the approval of the special permit or variance, so they would have to wait to take a vote. So they could open it, but they'd have to wait to take a vote.
I think the other place was, over off Branch Street, where they wanted to put the parking in the back. We had a problem with across from the fire station, where the road V's right there, where they have the police precinct, then they have the volleyball courts and everything else.
yes,
And that little,
yes.
the place had, the business on the first floor.
Correct.
They had the second floor, and in the back, we had problems with the parking layout and the dumpster layout and having people move. And I think for the ZBA first, on the street, and when I walked there in the parking lot, we had a discussion on that night. And they voted on it before we voted on it, concerned about the amount of parking on that site.
That's absolutely correct, yeah.
I think that, I don't remember the street, I mean, the address, but you know, it's,
Branch Street, probably.
yeah, what they call on Branch Street, you know, it veers off and it's up there on the left-hand side, right across from the fire station almost.
I still have pictures of the parking lot on my phone.
You have the address there, and the street on the side there, that's where the parking
liked
was in
it
the
that much.
back. And I remember they were gonna move the dumpster, because as it was that day, when I observed it, it was hard to even back out of it then, and then they were gonna put the dumpsters up against the lot, and then that was gonna be tough for the pickup and everything else. So I think that was the only time, but, so I mean, it'd be up to them, but, so on this matter, I don't know if we wanna make a recommendation due to the fact that we're not gonna, that we haven't worked on the site plan application, or make no recommendation at this time until come back before us on the site plan.
I'd probably suggest we make a no recommendation until we hear the full site plan.
All right,
Sure. Second that, man.
so make recommendation that we, no recommendation at this point in time due to the fact that we continued it to our public hearing for lack of 4 people for the special permit for tonight. Okay, so that completes the agenda of the ZBA notices. Do we, any other further general comments on this? Darren, anything from planning staff?
I just wanted to note that we will have on the agenda for the third application for, I think it's 307-27 Gorham Street. This is a solution for Better Acre project, and it's the kind of the triangular lot where the Cooney Insurance Building is. So there'll be a pre-app, and they're looking for a site plan review hearing in the first meeting in November.
Okay.
That's about it right now.
Any further correspondence by any board members? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye. Chair votes yes. Good night, and thank you, everyone.